a devout young man raised in a traditional Islamic culture, embarks on a global journey that challenges his faith and beliefs. Through the trials of doubt and discovery, he evolves from an aspiring imam into a fierce advocate for critical thinking, ultimately rejecting his old ways to embrace a new worldview. The story begins in a small, picturesque village nestled in the heart of a predominantly Islamic country. Yusef, a bright and curious boy, is raised in a loving and devout family. His father is the local imam, and Yusef is groomed from a young age to follow in his footsteps. He learns to recite the Quran, memorizes hadiths, and attends religious classes where he is taught the values and teachings of Islam. Yusef's devotion is unwavering. He finds comfort and purpose in his faith, believing that becoming an imam is his destiny. As he grows into his teens, Yusef is well respected in his community for his knowledge and piety. At 18, Yusef is offered a scholarship to study Islamic theology at a prestigious university abroad. With his family's blessings, he leaves his village for the first time and arrives in a bustling cosmopolitan city. Here, Yusef encounters a world vastly different from his own. Diverse cultures, beliefs, and ways of life challenge the simplicity of his upbringing. At university, Yusef excels in his studies, but he also begins to explore other disciplines: philosophy, science, and history. He befriends students from various backgrounds: Christians, Hindus, atheists, who introduce him to new ideas. For the first time, Yusef is exposed to critical thinking, skepticism, and the questioning of religious dogma. Yusef's mind is torn between the faith of his childhood and the compelling arguments he encounters. His once unshakable beliefs begin to waver, leading him into a deep inner conflict. He experiences an avalanche of doubt, as everything he once knew starts to crumble. Yusef returns home during a break, hoping that the familiar sights and sounds of his village will restore his faith. But the seeds of doubt have already taken root. He questions the rigid traditions, the unquestioning obedience to authority, and the lack of critical inquiry in his community. One evening, Yusef is asked to lead a prayer at the mosque. As he recites the Quran, he finds himself struggling to connect with the words he once held sacred. His voice falters and he stops mid-prayer, overwhelmed by the realization that he no longer believes. Yusef confides in his father, who is devastated by his son's doubts. They argue, and Yusef is torn between his love for his family and his need to seek the truth. Unable to reconcile the two, Yusef decides to leave the village, this time for good. Back in the city, Yusef immerses himself in the study of philosophy, science, and secular ethics. He reads the works of great thinkers, past and present, who challenge religious dogma and promote reason and evidence as the foundations of knowledge. Yusef's transformation is complete. He has embraced atheism and rejected the faith that once defined him. With this newfound clarity, Yusef begins to write and speak publicly about his journey. He shares his story of doubt and discovery, encouraging others to question their beliefs and think critically about the world. His message resonates with many, particularly those who feel trapped by tradition and fear. Yusef becomes a prominent advocate for secularism and critical thinking, challenging religious institutions and promoting education as the path to enlightenment. Despite facing backlash and threats, he remains steadfast in his mission to help others see the light. Years pass, and Yusef, now in his 30s, returns to his village one last time. He finds it changed. There are signs of modernization, and the younger generation is more open-minded and curious. Yusef's father, now elderly, has softened with time. They share a quiet moment of reconciliation, acknowledging their differences, but also the bond that remains. As Yusef leaves the village, he reflects on his journey. He realizes that while he has lost his faith, he has gained something far more valuable: a commitment to truth, reason, and the betterment of humanity. His story ends not with triumph over religion, but with a deep understanding that the pursuit of knowledge and critical thinking is a lifelong journey. Yusef stands before a crowd of young students in a lecture hall, his eyes filled with passion. Doubt, he says, is not the enemy of faith, it is the beginning of wisdom. Question everything, seek the truth, and never stop thinking critically. He pauses, looking at the eager faces before him. There was a time when I believed that strength came from certainty, from holding on to what I was taught without question. But true strength, Yusef continues, comes from the courage to explore the unknown, to challenge the boundaries of your mind, and to embrace the journey of discovery. It is in that journey that we find our true selves and the power to change the world. As he speaks, the room fills with a palpable energy. The students are no longer just listeners. They are ignited, inspired by the possibility that their own questions can lead to meaningful change. Yusef smiles, his voice rising with conviction. Remember, the future belongs to those who dare to think differently, who dare to ask the questions that others fear. You have the power to shape that future. Let your curiosity guide you, let your doubts push you to new heights, and let your mind be the beacon of light that leads others to a brighter tomorrow. The students rise to their feet, applauding with a mix of admiration and newfound resolve. Yusef watches them with pride, knowing that the seeds of change have been planted. As he leaves the lecture hall, the camera follows him outside, where the sun is setting, casting a golden glow over the city. Yusef looks out at the horizon, a symbol of endless possibilities. He walks forward with purpose, his steps echoing the journey of his life. A journey that has only just begun. Yusef leaves the audience not just with a message of empowerment, but with a powerful call to action, to question, to explore, and to never stop seeking the truth in a world full of possibilities.